Let's repeat the same test with a central lock-in. Just keeping an eye on this here. Now can you see that? That's moving. Well, welcome back everybody. Today we're looking at XJ40 again, my 1994 XJ6 Sovereign. There's been a long-standing issue with the central lock-in on the rear door here. Probably been outstanding for about a year or so. I've never really gotten around to sorting it out. But essentially, the lock mechanism still works on the door, but the central lock-in no longer works. So the requirement I think we've got is to really look at stripping back the door and taking a look to see what's gone wrong. So the steps I think I'll be following will be, firstly, the removal of the armrest and handle just here. There's a screw here, the little cover's disappeared, obviously been removed in previous ownership. And then there's two more further screws under here which will need to be removed, and then that will take care of the armrest. That can come off. So we look to remove all of this so that we can then get access to the door lock mechanism and just take a look to see whether there's an issue with the actual door lock solenoid, or whether it's actually one of the rods or something like that that's happened. So let's see how we get on. So you can see we've now removed the armrest. That came off nice and straightforward. So next I'm going to move on to the puddle light just down here, and then we'll see where we get at to. So the puddle lamp's off. One of the connectors here was a little bit tricky to get off, but I managed to get it off with some needle nose pliers, quite straightforward. Here you can see, it's coming out on camera okay, here you can see where we'd change the bulb if we need to, but there's nothing wrong with the bulb. This unit is going to move out the way, and now I'm going to move on to removing this lower pocket here. Okay, so slight change of tact in that I'm going to have to remove the entire lower trim pad before I can remove this section here. And I'm using this device here literally just to pull apart, prise apart the securing studs which are found around the sides and edges. So I'm going to carefully do that with this tool, and then we should be able to remove the whole thing and then disconnect the door speaker, electric door switch, and the other bits as well. Let me just go and disconnect the components from the lower door pad, and then I can get in and start having a look at what's going on with the door lock mechanism. Okay, so coming in for a closer look, you can see here got the window mechanism here, still with its protective weather shield on there. This is the connection for the speaker. This is the connection for the electric window. Over here we have the connection for the puddle light. And then over here we've actually got a protective weather shield. And just in here we can see this is a central lock-in solenoid. So that's what I'm going to have a look at next and see if that's where the issue is. Okay, so it definitely looks like someone's been here before. These clips here and here, for example, look like they've been broken. They should really be like this one over here, holding the wiring out of the way of any water that ingresses into the door. And in fact, to touch, some of these do feel a bit slimy, as if they've been exposed to water. Anyway, the next step is really to look at disconnecting the door solenoid, which is this one here. So I'm going to disconnect that, and then I'll probably just do a bit of testing to see if it is seen to be suspect. I will look to try and remove that. So there's a couple of screws here, one here and one just down here, which looks really awkward to get to. Okay, so just to bring you up to speed what I've done, in order to get access to this screw here, I've needed to remove all three of these T30 torque screws here to loosen the whole lock mechanism, and also this one down here, which is a little bit corroded, which is a bit worrying. Well, I've removed all of them. That's now given me some leverage in the lock mechanism, so I can now get a screwdriver on here as well. The other thing I've done whilst we're in here is I have actually disconnected the rod. I don't know if you can see that. That rod actually connects to the top here and does the button here. So you've got the knob and the rod. So it's been disconnected for the moment to allow me to crack on with this bit here. Okay, so I've managed to get a new old stock replacement door solenoid actuator. So what I'm going to do is test this old one on the right hand side with the new one. I'm going to literally connect it into the central lock-in. So I'm going to click it back in, and then I'm going to try it on the door and just see if the old one works in isolation or whether it's failed. And then also I was going to look at the new one and compare the difference. So here's the old one just connected up, and what I'm hoping to see is some life with this thing here. So I'm just going to try and lean over and literally just do the central lock-in and see if I can get a response out of this here. So just look at this here. Okay, I can't even feel a pulse in that. Nope, nada. Nothing coming through. Now I'm just going to try the new one. So it's just going to connect it here. Okay, it's the new one connected. Let's repeat the same test with a central lock-in. Just keeping an eye on this here. Now can you see that? That's moving. So I think we're safe to say that it is actually the central lock-in door solenoid, the old one that's failed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit this new one, and then the ultimate test will be once everything's back together, making sure it works. But the first thing I've got to do is perhaps transfer this bit over here onto this bit. Okay, so what I've been able to do is transfer over the clip just there. In the end, I didn't need to take this apart. The clip came out the old one and it's gone quite new. And what I've done, I've trial fitted into the lock mechanism. The lock's still loose. I've not mounted that back in yet, but what I want to do is put the screws back in here. There's one there and one further down, just down there. Make sure it's okay, and then I'll just connect up the wiring, and then I should be good to put the, should be just, yeah, can you see I'm highlighting there? So this, the other end of this just slots in there, so we'll have that, and that's our control rod. And then I think it's a case of doing the reverse of what we did to take it apart, just to secure the lock mechanism. So remember, they've got them here, 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 and also up here. And then I'll get the door card back on and make sure that all clips in, and then that should all be good. We'll carry on with the armrest and then we should be good. I've now been able to fix in the connecting rod. You can see, oops, you can see here the top end of it. So that is now fitted in. I've also been able to loosely fit the Torx, so the lock mechanism's in place. So now I've got that in place and the bar and the knob connected, I think I'm good to tighten these up. If I come down here, you can see I've already connected up the connector there for the central lock-in. So once these bolts are all torqued up, I shall then test. the central lock-in before putting the lower trim pad, armrest, and connect up the speakers and everything else. Okay, so just about to test it on the key. So if we just focus on the knob there, we should see it go up and down with the central lock-in. It's locked, unlocked, locked again. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Jobs are good, and so now I think we just need to reassemble all the door trim and then we should be done. So I've just threaded through the puddle light connector. I'm now just going to connect in the door control. There we go. And finally I'm now going to connect in the audio connection like so. That's done, and we should be good to start lining up the studs for the trim, this lower trim panel, to go back in. So I was going to check, got the puddle light connector. Yep, that's all good, making sure that's not going to get in the way of anyone. And oh yeah, I need to do the top bit first. All right, forgot about that. Right, here we go. Let's try and do that first. Right, that goes like so. So now I should be good to start. So just get these puddle light connectors on. Should we get them the right way? Right. Yep, that's good. I can see the light shining through just there, okay. Probably not coming out on camera, but it's definitely puddle light working. So next I'm just going to fit the armrest, and that should be the last job to do. Okay, so the armrest is now firmly on, the little covers are back on. This one over here is missing, but it's all firmly screwed, nice and tight. Trim's all back on, okay. Okay, let's just check with the key. Yep, certainly locked. Do the unlock. Yep, door open. Excellent. Let's try again. Okay, that seems to be fine. Let's try and lock in again. Yeah, I think it's the key fobs that's got a bit worn. Battery's probably just really worn in it, but otherwise all good. Okay, we're all done. Just need to pack away my tools. If you appreciated the video and enjoyed following on, please consider liking the video. And if you like Jaguar repair content and also some trips away, we're hoping to do the Highland 1000 in XJ40, which is one of the reasons why I've been looking to get these final few jobs done. The central lock-in issue was the last job to be done on this car. Then please consider subscribing. Thank you very much indeed.